Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I want to talk about something that I saw online actually, and I'm seeing this from @TWalkingDWorld on Twitter or X, and I found this really interesting because this could possibly be an actual connection to The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, and it's something that might just be an Easter egg, or there could actually be a connection here, because you gotta remember, Dead City is set a couple of years after The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, and what we're seeing here, or the Easter egg anyways in episode 2, could possibly tease how the shows are somewhat, I guess, connected. Or, I mean, the shows are connected, right? It's in the same world, but like, you know what I mean. So make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But yeah, let's get into exactly what this is here. So the interesting thing here is, I guess the question I have is, does Daryl know who Bruegel is? Now, I would say probably not, but it is possible that maybe Bruegel knows someone from Spain, and so maybe that's how he got this painting here. So what we learn here in episode 2, and this is according to @TWalkingDWorld on Twitter, and I do remember this being obviously a big scene in episode 2 because Dama actually goes into this whole explanation of what the painting means and everything. But Dama received this painting here from Bruegel, and it is of Saturn devouring his son, sort of thing. And she goes into the whole explanation of what it means and all of that. And maybe there's some sort of meaning there as to what it means for the season. I'm sure we could look back at the end of the season and be like, oh, that's what that was referencing, right? But what's interesting about it is, according to @TWalkingDWorld on Twitter or X, the post says, interestingly, this painting has always been on display in Madrid, Spain, and not in New York City. How did Bruegel acquire it from Spain? So that's what's kind of interesting about this. So I don't really know anything about the painting at all. And so I will just say the painting is absolutely incredible. And I'm really interested in like what it does mean for the season and why they did bring it up. And so if it is true that the painting is actually usually in Madrid, Spain, that's really interesting because, I mean, maybe there's like more than one copy. I have no idea. Like obviously that could be a thing, right? But it is really interesting that they chose a painting that would be from Spain. And now it's in New York City, and that maybe there's some sort of Easter egg or connection there. And if you're thinking about, you know, how that could happen, I mean, Bruegel was a very, I mean, I don't know if he was like a billionaire or whatever, but he was basically, you know, he had a lot of money and whatnot right before the apocalypse, and he built himself a bunker basically and stayed there for the entirety of the apocalypse. But we don't know a lot of, you know, how he survived. I mean, obviously, he's probably not just stayed down there the entire time. I'm sure he's come up here and there, but mostly he's been in his bunker the entire time, right? And so you do got to wonder, like, with all of the, you know, connections he could have just around the world, how he would get a painting like this. And maybe there is a reference here to something in Spain. Like, there could be a connection here. And what's actually kind of interesting about it is if you think about how Bruegel gets a lot of stuff, right? Like, he does, like, the whole Walker battles and all of that, and then usually he wins, right? And so he gets a bunch of like resources or just whatever. What if he got one of the paintings from that? And then you got to question, where did the painting come from? Maybe it was from Spain. And so maybe there's a connection there as to what happens in The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3 or 4 as to how the painting got to America, right? And again, this could just be a small Easter egg. Like sometimes there are Easter eggs in the show that don't really mean anything overall. It's just like, well, there's a reference to this, right? But it's not necessarily like an actual connection at all. So it's possible that this is something that was like, oh yeah, there's a connection here to Spain, but it's not going to really mean anything for the story. But the one thing about The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is that it is set a couple of years in the past, and somehow at some point, obviously Daryl is going to be back in America. And so I don't know if Spain is going to be the last place that he's in. I don't know if he'll be in another place after that. You know, there's a lot of talk about a season 5 and 6. It was the showrunner that was mostly talking about that, you know, like right now we're in Spain. And so maybe afterwards we'll be somewhere else kind of thing. So maybe that's implying a season 5 and 6, you know, being set somewhere else. But you do have to wonder if there is a connection in some way. Like if during the events of Dead City, if maybe Daryl is in America. But the thing is about that, like if he was, like he would be at the Commonwealth, and it would ruin a lot of the whole reunion stuff, right? Because it would mean that like, I mean, it kind of hurts the events of Dead City, I would say, because it's like happening in the future and all the reunions and everything happened in the past, right? Like obviously that's something that would be just like, I don't know, because then we're watching Dead City, and yes, we love the story, but like obviously we're all building up to like a big end game story, right? Like that's sort of what we're looking forward to, is all the characters seeing each other again and then just sort of having one final story there, right? And then maybe doing a next generation thing at that point, but at least ending this overall era, you know, of The Walking Dead with all of these characters, right? It's sort of what we're all building to right now. And that's why I think that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon at some point, probably not season 3, but maybe season 4, is likely going to be doing a time jump of like a couple of years to catch up with Dead City, because it just makes a lot of sense. I don't think they want the story to be Daryl goes to France or like Spain, right? Like basically goes to Europe. We'll see where he goes next if he does go anywhere, but I don't think they want the story like he goes there for a couple of months, maybe a year, and then he goes back. Like, I think they wanted a part of his story where he's there for a couple of years, like he was just there for a while, because it can't be that simple to like go there and come back, right? Like, I know obviously when you're looking at Carol's story, like she made it very simple like that, right? Like she literally took a plane over there, and then Laurent and Ash actually went back to on the same plane. I am okay with that stuff sometimes, because like you do want the world to be a little bit more like, you know, that you can travel like that a little bit easier, because it makes it a little bit more exciting, I think. But I do think that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, like out of both shows, that's the one show that I could see going on for a long time. And when you're looking at The Walking Dead Dead City, like again, that show might get, I think 4 seasons is what is sort of expected right now, because I know there was talk of like filming back-to-back seasons this summer, and that was going to be for, season 3 and 4. I think The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon could go on for like 5-6 seasons. Maybe even more. It really depends on, I think, Norman Reedus, to be honest. Like, it depends on how long he wants to play the role. I think last year he said something like 6 or 7 more years. So that would take you to like, what, 2030, 31? And like, if he wants to play Daryl for that long, the show's going to go on that long. And the reason why I say that is because of Ride with Norman Reedus. Like, that show is still going on right now. And it's just something that I feel like Norman Reedus, if he wants to do a show with AMC, they're likely going to create a show, right? It just seems like it works. Like, again, like Daryl is a very popular character. He's one of the most popular characters on The Walking Dead. It's actually hilarious, but this is a really interesting debate overall. It's like, who's more popular, Rick or Daryl? The one thing that I would say about Rick is that like he's the main character, and so there's something about the character that feels like, oh, this is the original Walking Dead, this is like the original story, like this is what it's all about, right? Like that's the aspect you get to Rick Grimes. But if you remember throughout The Walking Dead, like, you know, in the earlier seasons, Daryl became very popular. And he was more popular than Rick. Like the one thing that gives Rick Grimes, you know, like, and again, I don't want to really necessarily compare the characters, because to me, they're both really incredible, and you could really, you know, make that argument either way. But the thing is, Rick Grimes left the show. And when a character leaves the show that's that popular and is gone for a while, you really want to see that character again. And so it makes it this whole thing like, oh, Rick Grimes' return and this and that, right? And I always think like, what if Daryl left the show a long time ago? Say he left in season 8 or 9 or whatever. Would it be different? Because a lot of people would be talking about Daryl's return and, oh, like he's such a cool character. It'd be so amazing to see him, right? It's just really interesting. I still do think overall that Rick Grimes is more important to The Walking Dead in terms of like, you know, that original story. So there is something there. But I guess it's more of an argument with the actors, right? Like I would say for sure Norman Reedus is more popular than Andrew Lincoln, right? Just because like Andrew Lincoln hasn't really done a lot of stuff in the last like however many years, but Norman Reedus is in like everything, right? Like he was in that spinoff of John Wick. He was in Death Stranding. I mean, he's just like everywhere. He's in so many things, right? And they're like really big projects too. Whereas Andrew Lincoln, he's been in a couple of things, but it's mostly just been The Walking Dead. So I guess that is sort of the argument there, and maybe that's why when Rick does return, you remember that original story. My overall point with this is that I think for Daryl, you know, to be out there and have a show for however long he wants, like, it's likely going to happen, right? Because I think if Andrew Lincoln wanted to have his own show right now and have a show every single year, AMC would probably do that as well, right? So I think that is just kind of one of those things where, you know, Andrew Lincoln more wants to play Rick Grimes every couple of years and have this limited series instead of it being like, you know, a season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, because he did that for a long time. Whereas I think Norman Reedus is all right with that. I really think that he's totally fine with doing that every single year, because I think he does like the character quite a bit. And that's my point with this, is that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon could likely go on for a very long time. And that's why I think that if there's a connection here to Bruegel, it's likely not going to be something where Daryl came back to America and he brought the painting over sort of thing, right? It's probably going to be something where maybe the villain here of season 3 or 4 has a connection to Bruegel, and that's pretty much going to be it, I think. Like, I will be really looking for this in season 3 and even 4 if we do see that painting at all. And it's literally like a scene and you just see it in the background. It's not the focus of the scene at all. It just randomly happens. I think that right there confirms that there is a connection somehow. But the one thing with The Walking Dead that is frustrating sometimes is that even though this might be a connection, they might not ever confirm it, right? Like maybe it's just like, oh yeah, this is pretty obvious. Like this is obviously a connection. And then if you ask Scott Gimple about it, he'll be like, oh, maybe there's a connection, right? Like that's the thing that is just so frustrating, I think, with The Walking Dead and the way that Gimple runs it. Like I'm a huge fan of a lot of the stories and the way that he sort of, has handled everything here, because I think the way The Walking Dead ended, all the spinoffs, all of that, it's incredible, right? Like I think that if anyone else had it, it could be in a much worse place, right? Like obviously I do disagree with a lot of story decisions, but I think overall a lot of other showrunners or anyone else that was running The Walking Dead, like they might have, I think, ruined it. I think Scott Gimple has done a really amazing job with The Walking Dead, but I think that that's just the one aspect to it there is like, I wish there would just be more confirmation with some stuff. Just like say, yes, that's a connection. Yes, that means that. Because that makes it more exciting. It does. But to have the constant question mark there is where it's just like, you just like don't care about every little reveal or every little connection because there's too much of it afterwards, right? Like you gotta like have these connections here and have things make sense and just like, it's all right to confirm things once in a while, right? Like I think that's the thing with like The Walking Dead final season. There was a lot of connections there, or it seemed like anyways, between the Commonwealth and CRM, but like we literally watched The Ones Who Live. There was nothing there that confirmed any sort of connection to the Commonwealth. So I'm like, was there a connection there at all? Like, what was all of that set up there? Like, it literally went nowhere. That's what's frustrating about it. But anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post your thoughts down below on all this here. Do you think that this is a possible connection to The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3 or 4? Or do you think this is just sort of an Easter egg and it doesn't really overall mean anything to the story? Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one.